All right, guys, welcome to the Digital Barbell Podcast. Thanks for being here. Thanks for tuning in every week for all of your fitness and nutrition needs. We are here to serve you. Leave us a 5-star rating while you're here. And if you don't mind, leave us a review too. And also subscribe to our YouTube. And also follow us on Instagram.
All the things.
But really, it really does help us find new people when you guys take a minute out of to leave us a review or click that 5-star button on the app that you're listening to this. And I know it seems kind of silly, but it really is one of the best ways that you can help us if you get value out of the content that we put out there. We have 2 sponsors this episode, so let's get right into it. But I guess we can say what the topic is today, right? We're talking all about recovery, the 5 most important things for you to focus on for improved recovery. But let's get to the sponsors because that's why everybody really comes here. First of all, what it says on my hat right here, Crafted Construction. If you're in Houston, Texas, go visit my friend or call my friend. You don't have to go visit him. Curtis, he owns this awesome construction company. He gave me this awesome hat last time we were back in Houston.
It is cool.
Been friends for almost 20 years. He's doing good stuff. Honest. If you're like a big construction project, if you have like a leaky sink and a doorknob that needs to be replaced, he's not the man for the job. But he can completely remodel your house or build you a new one from scratch too. Number 2 is John Deere mowers.
I should be mowing right now.
You broke our mower. Just tell everybody.
I ran into a stump. A stump I knew that was there. I was trying to get real close to it.
Yeah, so right now our lawn mower is sitting out in the yard with the entire like deck assembly sitting on the ground. We have to go into town, get new blades, and see if that
works.
Yeah, she bent up the blades pretty bad.
It's that time of year where it's like the grass doesn't grow, but all these, I call them wispies. I think they're just grass seeds, but they're just super long. They can get up to like mid shin and just they shoot up overnight and they drive me crazy.
Yeah, you are very much anti those things.
I gotta mow. I just don't like how it looks.
I just noticed for all the people watching this on YouTube, you have a black spot on your
I did some dumbbell hang squat cleans earlier.
So you got a little bit of dumbbell grease on your shoulder. We'll let it slide. This is a rest day for me, but you got to work out it. Good on you. All right, we are talking about recovery today. What the heck is recovery? Why does it matter? Recovery is the thing that actually makes you make progress. The stuff that we're doing in the gym, that's the stress. That's what's causing the damage to our body in a good way. And what we do outside of the gym is what helps us get better. That's part of the stress recovery adaptation cycle that we're already talking about. So that's why this matters. If you don't put emphasis on the recovery side, you're just spinning your wheels, beating yourself down, and you're not getting better. So that's why this matters. It'll be like, deciding you're going on a road trip, but you are so excited to get there, you're unwilling to stop and get gas. You're going to peter out. You're never going to make it. Yeah. You have to stop to refuel if you're going to make it to Disney World. Or what was the one in National Lampoon's? Where are they trying to go? Wally World?
Wally World, yeah. But these are the type of recovery things that we're talking about that are just like the real hard work, putting work in recovery. Not they're not hard, but they're the work.
They require effort.
This is not like a pill or an easy
take these mushrooms
for recovery. Yeah. Right. So these are just like 5 real topics real things that you can do to improve your recovery, but they're going to actually be things that you have to do. I'm not trying to be harsh. It's just like these are, you'll have to be proactive in doing these things.
It's the old example of recovery. Like take a glass and like you're trying to fill the glass up with as much as you can. You can start by putting the big rocks that you can find in the glass. That's going to take up the most space in your recovery glass. Then when you're doing those things well, you can sprinkle in some pebbles to take up a little bit more room. Then you can put some sand in to fill the entire thing up. But these things we're going to go over, these 5 staples of recovery, are the big rocks that really going to move the needle.
All right.
And this is not a biohacking thing either. So if that's what you're looking for, go listen to Andrew Huberman's 3-hour podcast on biohacking.
Let's go.
Number 1, you going to go through these? You're always better at reading them out.
You can go ahead.
Okay. Number 1, cut back on or cut out alcohol. The thing nobody wants to hear that they should do. Let's talk about the difference that it's made in you. We're in June as we're recording this, and you have given up alcohol for 2023 at a minimum. Yeah. How's that going so far?
I mean, I'm just at 6 months in, and yeah, I feel really good. I've never gone this long since I've drinking alcohol. I've never gone this long without drinking.
You mean since you were 21? Because you probably never had a drop before you were 21, right?
Of course. But yeah, I don't know.
What about from recovery perspective? Like what has changed?
Number one, and I think this is one of those things that everything falls onto itself, but number one is my sleep. And I've heard people say that your sleep it gets amazing if you don't drink alcohol. But, you know, I was like, a glass of wine at night makes you a little sleepy. But no, it affects your sleep.
Yeah.
Even if it makes you a little sleepy, it affects your sleep. And that has been the biggest change that I have seen is I sleep incredibly good. Even if I have to wake up in the middle of the night, I get right back to sleep. And that is where my sleep always had trouble. If I woke up for any reason in the middle of the night, it took forever for me to go back to sleep. My head would start racing and blah, 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 blah. And now I feel like I go to sleep well, I stay asleep, and I wake up and I feel like ready to go.
Yeah. It's like it's made the hours that you're spending in bed like much more productive hours. Because we do always get 7 or 8 hours or more.
Exactly. It's the same time, but the sleep quality has improved drastically.
Yeah. You're getting into the deeper stages of sleep and staying there longer, which is where all the good hormones are released that cause you to recover and get stronger.
So in turn, I think that has affected my energy throughout the day. Like I have like more energy than I need, to be honest.
Sometimes it's annoying, guys.
It's annoying to him. Like energy through the night until it's time for me to go to bed. You know, like before I would get, sleepy at different times of the day or, in the evening. I'm just like, what can we do next? What can we do next? I mean, today, like he said, today was supposed to be a rest day. I'm like, okay, well, let me mow the lawn. Okay, darn, I broke the lawnmower. Let me get this. I saw a cool workout on CrossFit.com. Let me do that. Okay, let me get a little extra pump in. Okay, let me, I'm just like, I have all this energy that I need to like get rid of.
I can tell by the way you're talking.
But in a good way. In a good way.
So, yeah, all that stuff is like the anecdotal, I feel better kind of stuff. But we know from research that alcohol just impairs your recovery while you're sleeping. Like having alcohol in your system to process is literally a toxin in your body that your liver has to prioritize. Yeah. It blunts muscle protein synthesis. It slows down the repair of muscle tissue. Like for somebody who has legit recovery concerns, this is probably one of the first things that you should look at changing. And that's why we brought it up first.
And I think the other thing is, it probably makes my gym time more productive, like you said. And, I'm not having to worry about if I had even just a glass of wine at night on a regular basis before I come in the next day to do my workout, and my body is working against, flushing out those toxins and stuff instead of, building the muscle that I'm working for in the gym.
Yeah. And like I interviewed Jill from the Sober Powered podcast, and we talked about how like we get in the habit of dealing with stress or getting in the routine of having alcohol to unwind or try to like kind of decompress from stress, but it's actually counterproductive to stress and anxiety. It actually increases those things after that quick feedback loop of positive reinforcement is gone. It ramps up your anxiety, and it also provides an alternate fuel source for your body to use instead of body fat. So if you're somebody who's trying to lose weight, constantly having alcohol in your system does not prioritize burning body fat for energy. So that's another downside outside of just the recovery things.
And I don't mind talking a little bit about why I'm doing this. I'm doing it to support my brother who is sober, and it's just something I'm doing for him. We accountability. We text each other each day, because you don't like say, I'm never going to drink alcohol again. I'm never going to drink this year, or whatever it is. You say like, today I'm not going to drink alcohol. And our goal is to do this through 2023 at least. And every day we text each other and say, 0, we're not going to have any alcohol today. And I'm doing it to support him in this. But,
and people have been supportive of that, knowing that.
Yeah. I mean, I had just randomly this year, we've already been invited to 2 wine tastings, and, and I think like if I hadn't had this commitment to somebody during this time there, I probably would have if I was just doing this to do it, I probably would have slipped up and been like, oh, it's okay. If we're invited to this fancy wine tasting, it's okay to have it tonight. And that probably would have led me down the path of like having it the next night and finishing off the bottle and, going down that road. But it's been like absolutely none. And it's been easy. Like I've never felt like I've missed a beat. I've been able to do social things But like I said, to 2 wine tastings, and didn't feel like an oddball. I was able to just had my own beverage in my hand, whatever I wanted to bring, and mixed in with everybody and enjoyed the evenings.
And even out at bars and restaurants here, you've been able to find NA options.
They have so many non-alcoholic. I mean, I was never really like a beer drinker before. I mostly would have chosen wine if I was drinking anything. And non-alcoholic wine is gross. It can be served to children. It's like grape juice. It's not anything to, make you feel like you're having a glass of wine.
Right.
But non-alcoholic beer is on point. There's so many to choose from, and they taste great.
You're jamming on the Heineken 0.0 right now, right?
And a lot of the athletic brewings. I mean, there's so many that are good.
Yep.
And you can find them out at restaurants, like you said. Most bars and restaurants have at least one.
O'Doul's and nothing else.
They're usually not O'Doul's. It's usually some better stuff.
Yeah.
And like, I think like in the beginning, I definitely felt like it was, like you just get in this routine of like, okay, it's this time of night and let me pour a glass of wine. And I was actually kind of nervous about how that was going to go, because I had not just made a commitment to myself, but to somebody else. And, I would try to just like change. In the beginning, I just tried to like change up what I was doing. Like, okay, if we're out of the house, I won't be like pouring a glass of wine, or if I'm drinking a non-alcoholic beer, it will kind of take the place of that habit. And honestly, it didn't take long, and it didn't feel like a struggle bus to like get over the hump of breaking that habit, to where I don't even really think about it. Before, I used to really think about it. I used to think like, what time is it? Not like I was like, oh, I have to have a glass of wine, but it was just like a habit of mine. Like kind of like if we have a snack at the same time every day, it's like, oh, it's 10:30, time for my snack.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
we can train our body to crave things at certain times.
Right. So that it was just more like a craving of my body to have that glass of wine at a certain time of night. And it didn't take long to break that habit. Thanks to other things I could just put in place.
Yeah. James Clear talks a lot about like having a substitute habit when you're trying to create habits instead of just trying to go cold turkey on something.
But here in the 6th month, I literally don't think about it. Like, I don't have to like have a replacement habit at that time anymore. Right. If that habit has been completely washed away, I'm over the hump.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm sure this is different for somebody who struggles with alcoholism.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're talking about today.
Right.
Cool. So start there, guys. All right. Number 2, let's stay with the liquid theme. Hydrate yourself, you crusty son of a gun. I had to write it like that because I'm just shocked when I still run into new clients who are drinking 2 or 3 glasses of water per day and wondering like why they're struggling with recovery and having energy, and they got nothing going for their workouts, and they're having trouble getting stronger. This is truly like base level stuff that should just become a habit of your life and just needs to go on with you forever. Drink water, not calories.
Yeah.
I see you got your giant mug right here off camera. I got mine right down here too. It's amazing how you just start to crave it once you get into the routine. But let's talk about some of the benefits of drinking water that you probably know, but let's just get into them. Some of the reasons staying hydrated is beneficial is, number 1, it helps you have the right amount of blood circulating throughout your system. This matters because blood is the thing that delivers oxygen and nutrients to all of your tissues. I don't think a lot of people think about that. Having enough hydration allows you to break down carbohydrates that you eat, helps you generate ATP, the energy currency for exercise. Being hydrated helps you regulate the electrolytes in your system, potassium, magnesium, sodium, all that good stuff. And like I said earlier, it helps you flush out lactate in your muscles when you're exercising. Lactate is the thing that gives you that burning feeling when you're getting the pump and you're like, I can't do anymore. Riding this salt bike. Being dehydrated is a shortcut to building up too much lactate and hitting failure sooner. So stay hydrated.
What are some hacks that you give your nutrition clients if they are struggling to get enough water in a day?
Number one is purchase a bottle for water that you like. Please don't rely on the little plastic 16.9 ounce like Ozarka bottles or whatever the brand in your hometown is. Like, if you have to rely on going to the refrigerator to get one of those every time you're thirsty, it's never going to happen. You got to get some kind of insulated thermos.
I feel like with those, like you end up finding like 3/4 full ones around the house, and you're like, whose was this? Oh, I don't know. Let's water a plant with it or something. And like it ends up being a waste.
Yeah. I've never seen anybody like have long-term success with that
Yeah.
strategy. Get a bottle that's 30, 32, 40 ounces, something like that. Something that you
Maybe
really
a
like.
Stanley.
Spend some money on it. So it's something you're like, yeah, I feel proud to have this thing. I'm into it.
Yeah.
And keep it with you.
Honestly, that is a really like thing I do is like I will if I find myself not drinking enough water, I just need to change up my water bottle. If I like change up my water bottle, and it can either be like an old one I used to use, or I mean if it's not an expensive thing, if it can be like a $15 or $20 thing, that if it really makes you be healthier, it's fine. But just like change up your water bottle and you're like, yeah, I'm drinking water. Look at my cool new water bottle.
Yeah. So number one, have a container for water that
Yeah.
you like, especially if you really like drinking cold water, get something insulated. Add a flavor that's not sweetened to the
Yeah.
water. There's tons out there. Just go down like the hydration aisle at the grocery store and there'll be plenty of options. Just make sure it's a 0-calorie.
What's that one that I get on Amazon? We used to get it in Boise, and I ended up finding it here
You like
on Amazon.
Ultima.
Ultima, and it comes in like they have like the single serving packs, but if you get like the container, you can like you don't have to do a full serving every
Yeah.
time. It just depends on your glass size, like how much you need. So you can just like pour a little bit, and it's like they have strawberry, watermelon, all the different flavors. It's really good, and it's like nothing, 0 calories, and
Right.
not. I'm very particular about a lot of like obviously like fake sugars and the stuff I give him a hard time about by drinking Cokes, but Diet Cokes,
Exactly.
whole nother topic. But yeah, it's clean.
Yeah. And you'll find a lot of influencers, whatever, telling you have to take an electrolyte supplement. Unless you're somebody who's like doing 2 days out on the Florida football field, or you're just sweating profusely and you just cannot get your urine to a normal cover, no matter how much you drink. You don't need to.
Yeah.
You don't need to spend money on an electrolyte powder. You can get everything you want, everything you need from water. The other tip I would just say is, well, 2 tips. Number one, start out the day by drinking water. Like it's the same thing with like having a protein containing breakfast. Like you're much more likely to hit your protein goal for the day if you get some dang protein in the morning and aren't trying to shovel it all in and hit your goal at the end of the day. Start the day with 16 to 20 ounces of water. You will automatically get out of that dehydrated state. And you start the day off with a positive behavior, which is going to make you lead to making more positive decisions for yourself. And you're reaching closer to your water goal for the day. How much should your water goal be, you ask?
Yes.
It's different for everybody. I would say drink to thirst, number one, because you have water near you, which is convenient. And your urine should be somewhere in like a straw color, like a pale yellow. It doesn't have to be clear. It shouldn't look like orange juice. A pale yellow is the sweet spot. You know, just a general guideline, take your body weight, divide it by 2, try to get about that many ounces per day. If you're sweating a ton or you're just somebody who sweats a lot in general, go up from there.
Yeah. I feel like there's more awareness about drinking water, or something has changed, because I just feel like growing up, or I never left the house with anything. Like just leave the house and I had nothing with me. No food, no water, no nothing.
Me and my car keys.
Everything I needed, I got on the outside. But like at school, even like you just use the water fountain if you needed a drink.
Yeah.
But now there's just water.
chronically
Yeah, like we as a whole, I think we just bring water everywhere. I mean, I do, you do. You see it everywhere. People have their Yetis or whatever.
And like this,
I just think there's more awareness about it, and it's
sure.
good. It's good. I mean, I feel like we all used to walk around dehydrated, hoping there was a water fountain nearby.
and I would say like our older clients, this is something they really
Yeah,
struggle
that's
with,
true,
because they're kind of on the tail end of it becoming a cool thing to carry a water bottle
Right.
around all the time, which is bad. Be like, my mom is dealing with decreased kidney function right now. And one of the main contributors is her and being in a chronic state of dehydration.
Yeah, and
all the time.
The last time we did that challenge for the water, I know it brought awareness to a lot of
Bernie
people.
had a
like,
big turnaround on
yeah,
that.
like wow, I realized how little water I drink. Yeah. Cool. All right, next one. I'll start.
Okay.
Use active recovery days.
Yeah.
So that means like
How is active recovery a recovery tool? Or what is an active recovery day?
An active recovery day is doing something active on your recovery day. I'm defining I'm defining this with the words. But you're not in the gym lifting weights. You're not doing a conditioning workout, but you're doing something like going for a walk, going for a hike, going for a bike ride, something that you hopefully enjoy to do, but that you're keeping your body moving.
I think this is a good opportunity for people who like want to spend some dedicated time on mobility or yoga or that kind of stuff. Do that on a rest day as your active recovery. Like you're going through ranges of motion.
Yeah.
That's basically what you're doing. You're going through different ranges of motion, but that of course uses your muscles. Like maybe your coach is like, hey, you only have 3 days you say you can train,
Right.
we need to spend that time in the gym moving
Yeah.
some weight and doing some conditioning.
We're not, yeah.
So
if you want the stretching, let's
Right.
do it on your days off.
Right.
Right. You know, and I think this plays a huge part on the mental side of things too.
Yeah.
I think like a day where you are completely idle, you know, you work out 3 days in a row, say, and then you completely idle on that fourth day. I think you're going to feel a little bit more sluggish on day 5 when you do return to the gym. If you just did nothing and you were just, you know, but if you had some active recovery in there, you went for a 30-minute walk, you went for a little hike, you did something you enjoyed, I think you're going to have a little bit more energy that day and on the next day.
And it makes sense too. Like if you think about the fact of circulation helps flush out metabolites out of your muscles and helps get rid of, you know, DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, quicker. Well, how are we going to do that? We're going to have some circulation. We're going to use the muscles to help flush them out. So like if it just works out to where you're sore on a rest day, that doesn't mean do nothing. You'll probably be less sore if you do something active that's not exercise on your rest day. You'll come back feeling better.
For me, it's just like the mental side of it. I just want to kind of be moving, and so I'll be like, okay, let's do this on our rest day. I like to walk. Like that's what we like to do. So even like this, like it is hot now, and
HAWT.
hot. So we can't take these dogs out, especially Buttons.
Oh, poor
with
Buttons.
that thick fur, you know, after the noon hour hits. So we got up this morning and took them for a walk when it's like in the 70s, and you know, it's a little more humid, but it's not like the sun beating down on you, you know, just to get some activity in for them.
Another vote for the super fit walking pad that we have.
Yeah.
Great thing to use on a recovery day.
Yeah.
Throw that thing in front of your air conditioner or a fan.
Put a show on.
Yep. We actually, you've been working on our Products We Trust page on the website, kind of putting some new things out there. If you guys didn't know, we have a specific page on our website for things that we've bought and like, or things that we recommend to our clients. You can go check that out.
I'm just kind of always adding things because it is things that we either use or our clients use, and we get asked all the time, like, hey, what are those bands? What's that hip circle? What's that hip pad you're using? Blah, 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 and we'll put them all there. And so just like go there and you can find the things.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, next one. Eat the right foods in the right amounts according to your goal.
You know those people who are like, food is fuel. That's it. That's all it is. Just think about food as fuel. Okay, that's a little extreme, and I don't think that's really practical for most people since it's like a social thing and you get to enjoy it also. But from a recovery perspective, food is the thing, plus sleep, that causes your body to recover. So we have to like look at nutrition in the context of recovering. But not all food is created equal.
Yeah.
You already know, Blakley said at the beginning of this, it's going to require some work. These things work, but they are going to require you to do some work. These are the foods that are best for recovery: lean proteins, fruits, colorful vegetables, nuts and seeds, whole grains. These are all the things that have the nutritional value to nourish your body to aid in the recovery.
Yeah.
A lot of those foods that I just said are high in antioxidants. I feel like nobody really talks about those anymore. But they're foods that have like a counteraction on these things called free radicals, which are these little things that are floating around in your body that try to destroy cells, not shells.
In case you counted.
So this is a way that you can kind of harness the power of that to aid in recovery. And it's not just about like eating these certain foods. Total quantity has a huge impact on your overall recovery too. I'm talking about calories, whether you're counting calories or not. The quantity of food has a huge impact on whether you're feeling recovered or not. So if you're somebody who is like in a fat loss phase, you got to monitor your biofeedback. How are you feeling? Are you getting stronger? Are you feeling depleted? Is your like subconscious activity, like you just feeling lethargic? Is everything just kind of slowing down? That's a sign that like we're not providing enough recovery resources. The stress is outweighing the recovery side. It might be time to temporarily bring calories up to a maintenance range till things stabilize and then go back down into a fat loss phase. Yeah. We talked about this a lot on the episode of 5 Minutes with Stephanie, because we spent so much time during her year of nutrition coaching focused on maintenance, and she got to really cash in on all this extra recovery that we're talking about by spending time properly nourishing her body, when in years past she had just been focused on got to be in a calorie deficit, got to keep losing fat.
Yeah.
So now her body composition has drastically improved because we spent so much time balancing recovery with the stress.
Right.
Okay, beyond like, so quantity really matters, but also giving your body certain dosages of the 3 different macronutrients. You know, we still need to eat a sufficient amount of protein for recovery because it literally gives your body the signal to, hey, go in and repair this muscle tissue that I broke or damaged. Go in and build new muscle tissue. Remember, the work you're doing in the gym is like the signal to your body, and then the nutrition provides the support to actually make the change. That's
Right.
what causes this whole thing to happen. So if you're somebody who's like killing it in the gym, but you're just not making any progress, it's because you're only focusing on one side of the equation. You're not supporting the signal that the training is giving your body. So putting the emphasis in the recovery with the nutrition,
Right.
magic's going to happen when you do that. And then from the recovery perspective on nutrition too, eat some freaking carbs. You not only are they anabolic to help you build new muscle tissue and strength, they're like a natural performance enhancer. Your body wants to burn carbs, especially if you're somebody who does something like CrossFit or lifts weights. If you're doing anything other than like long endurance. So, supporting your efforts with carbs is critical. And then like getting some carbs after you work out too is great for recovery too, because it's going to replenish the carbs that you burned that were stored in your muscles that you used up during your workout. It doesn't have to be like, eating bananas on the way home,
Right.
but don't shy away from carbs, especially around your training times. Great for recovery.
I think the CrossFit prescription for nutrition is a great one because it's easy to remember, and you can take each food group and kind of like, if it says meat, and you can be like, okay, meat includes like eggs and dairy, things like that. But the CrossFit prescription for nutrition is eat, and like I said, it's in like an order of importance of like the things that you should be putting in. Eat meat, vegetables, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, no sugar, in the amounts and quantities that support your activity level but don't support body fat.
Yep.
It's kind of lays it all out right there.
The no sugar thing is the only thing that people would probably really struggle with that wouldn't be sustainable. But
And I would say no added sugar.
Yeah.
But that is still hard.
That is still
as we
hard.
just did that challenge. But
that's an amazing goal though. And if half of the population would focus on doing half of those things, we could bring the obesity rates from 74% down to 50 probably within the next decade.
Yeah, and it's like those things that's so easy to figure out. Here are the groups. Here's the groups, and here's the order that they apply of importance that I should be putting them on my body. And then, based on, and you can tell body fat or not, I should add more food or take away some food.
Unfortunately, we live in a food environment that makes that extremely tricky. And the way that diet culture has been set up over the last 50 years, leads more to strict rules that are really hard to follow and feelings of failure
versus
when
like
you
just
no longer can follow them. So we'll do a whole episode on that. Okay, I hope that makes sense from using nutrition to support your recovery.
Okay, last one. Big boy, manage stress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're not, I guess we could look at stress from 2 perspectives, like the stress you're incurring in the gym and then your life stress. Because remember, every stress we put on our body, we have to supply an adequate amount of recovery to counteract that. So a lot of the things that we've talked about so far are counteracting what we're doing in the gym.
Yeah.
But what about all the other stress in life? I don't know about you, but I have things in life that stress me out. Like, what am I doing to recover from that stress?
I mean, a lot. It's obviously not all of the stress. It doesn't relieve all of the stress, but the things that you do in the gym help relieve a lot of the stress. And I hear that over and over. I say it myself. I hear it over and over again from my clients. Like, I was feeling stressed out. I went several days in a row, and then finally I just made myself get into the gym, and oh my gosh, I feel better. Like, thank you.
Yeah. No, that's great.
Yeah.
And like, make sure that when you do that, you're like, it's even more important to use the things that we just talked about to recover from the stress of the exercise you're using to manage the external stress in your life. Like, that shows you the importance of all the things that we've said so far.
Right.
But like, we cope with stress in different ways. And like, there's millions of books out there, and I help people work on coping mechanisms for stress and strategies as far as it ties into like making impulsive decisions and stuff like that. But at some point we just have to ask ourselves, like, what are the things in my life that are causing me stress that I can actually get rid of the stress? If you hate your job, you're allowed to change jobs.
Yeah.
You can change careers. We've done it. A lot of people we know have done it. If you hate where you live and you want to live in New England, you want to live on the coast of California, you are allowed to do that. You are literally allowed to move, even if you have kids, even if you have a family and you have to move away from loved ones. I know that might sound hard, but at some point you can stop trying to cope with the stress and get to the root of the thing that's causing you stress. Is there like a relationship that's especially stressing you out? Maybe you need to have a hard conversation with somebody, but doing that might alleviate so much future stress that you no longer have to recover from. So it's like this balancing act, like, okay, this stress in my life is up here at a level 8. I got to provide a level 8 of recovery to try to match up with that. Well, what if we could like knock out 3 of those things that are really stressing you out, and then you don't need so much recovery and you feel so much more in balance. And like some of this stuff is simple things. Are you following certain accounts on social media that are stressing you out? Like, is there fitness content that you're following that makes you feel bad about yourself and makes you just more stressed out that you're not reaching goals that you've set for yourself, or you think you should be living up to a different standard? Are you following like an account of somebody who is always talking about things in their life that are always going so great, even though you know they're only showing you the highlight reel? Unfollow that person and get that stress out of your life. Like you could go on. Like, are there shows that you're watching that lead you down comparison and make you think you're failing at life because you see what other people have? Is this all making sense? Like, we can bring down the stress in other places, instead of trying to just like cope with stress.
Right. And all these things that we've mentioned today kind of go hand in hand. I think we could kind of start from the top, cutting back or eliminating alcohol. I'm not going to be like, oh, nobody should ever drink, because I'm not saying I'll never drink again. But cutting back on alcohol can lead you to being more hydrated, because you're going to drink other things. Can lead you to just having more energy. So on those days off, you're going to be like, active, even on your days on. Anytime that you're active, anytime that you're just, starting to dial in your workouts, you're going to want to eat better. And that training is going to just make you want to eat foods. If you eat a donut before you work out and you feel like you're going to throw up, you're not going to want to do that again, and then all of that let together is going to take away some of that stress. Because whether you're stressed out because you feel like you need to be working on your diet, you need to be working on your training, the stress that working out just takes away.
It's like this awesome positive feedback loop.
Yeah.
Like, you put some emphasis on these things that really make a difference, you start getting a better result, and you feel super motivated.
Steamrolls. It's just,
This is the importance of getting quick wins. Like, finding little things that you can change that move the needle a lot, because it gets you motivated right off the bat.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else?
I think that's it.
All right. Let's go get a lawnmower blade. All right. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Put some of these things into place. If you have any questions, please reach out. We're always here for questions. You can always email me directly at jonathan@digitalbarbell.com or Blakley at
Blakley
at digitalbarbell.com. All right, guys. Hope you have a good day.